live.
You ready, PJ?
Yeah. All right. I'd like to, first of all, let's stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Echo, actually. That's a little hard.
Sorry, that was kind of odd.
Yeah. Yeah, play a little.
All right, I'd like to call the regular board meeting for March 2025 to order. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
All right, any delegations for tonight?
No.
All right. Any correspondence?
No, not this evening, no.
Perfect. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Everyone had a chance to look it over?
Yep.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes for the regular board meeting of February 19, 2025. Approve the treasurer's report for February 28, 2025. Approve the reimbursement for petty cash for the elementary school in the amount of $199. And approve the payment of bills and bills to be allowed in the amount of $134,744.21 for March 13, 2025. And the February 2025 payroll in the amount of $538,677.81.
Second.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Lohmeyer. Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, moving right into new business, elementary math series.
All right, Mrs. Paul has some staff here and they're going to do a presentation on.
Yes, we have a math committee, and our math committee consists of Kaylee Hodges, a first grade teacher, Angela Bergeron, a third grade teacher, Susan Smith, title math teacher, Brian Strongram, fourth grade teacher, and Josie Garland, kindergarten teacher, and then Amy Lohmeyer, fifth grade teacher, and myself. And so these guys are gonna talk to you about the math series that we've chosen and give you some ideas, and then I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the pros and cons, and then you've got the quote in front of you. So I'll turn it over to those guys.
Thank you, Mrs. Paul. Patty, I'm gonna respond.
Come over here right by the table. There you go. Well, first of all, before we talk about the series that we chose, we're going to talk a little bit about how we chose. Last May, we started looking for a new series, and when Mrs. Paul said, we need to find a new math series, I was like, oh, yay, that'll be fun. And I'm going to retire, so I don't care what happens, but apparently I do care. So we started last May, and we got together with our math committee, and we started with the great help of Mr. Strongram. He ordered new series for us to look at, and we ended up taking all those samples and looked around at them, passed them around to all the different levels. In November, there was a Greenbush textbook day at Greenbush up by Lawrence we went to, and there were a few vendors. There were some 2 or 3 really nice ones, and a couple of them that didn't have a whole lot of representation. They just had a few things to show us, but not much of a presentation. IXL was there, which we use in our math group, in our math building all the time, and which was really great, but their math book wasn't going to be ready for another year or so. And that was the one I think that most of us would have really, really liked to have, but it was going to be a while before the new one came out, and we didn't want to kind of be behind the 8 ball, so to speak, with that. So we ended up narrowing it down to 3 choices. which were, IXL was one of them, Envisions by Savas, and Math and You by Big Ideas. So Math Committee got back together after we looked at it. We decided IXL should be out because of the no teacher samples and the new material isn't ready for a while. And then after we got it in our hands, the teachers, I'm gonna let you turn this over. Teachers chose their grade, had their books from their grade level, and they were asked to teach for 2 weeks out of those materials and see which ones they liked the best. So I'm gonna let Mr. Strongman
Thank you.
pick up from there.
So after they taught for 2 weeks, they came back to us and we're like, okay, how are we gonna decide which series we're gonna go with? So Mrs. Paul decided to send out a Google form to each one of the grade levels, asking them the pros and cons of each series. And then we took that information and compiled it, and as a committee, we looked at it and said, okay, here are the pros, here are the cons, and with that decision, we decided to go with Math and You. Math and You is a sister, I guess, of Big Ideas, you say that. And the advantage of going with Math and You is the middle school is already using Big Ideas, and we've heard that there's talk that perhaps the high school is possibly going to be doing the same thing. So this is probably the first time that we've ever had a K through 12 math curriculum for the whole district. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens to our scores, whether there's a reflection on that or not. So it's kind of something very positive to look forward to the future, especially with KISA, to see, if that's going to be a huge influence in our scores. So we're all excited about it. We think the students are going to have a good transition from each grade level to the next, especially going from elementary to middle school, because it's going to be just a smooth sailing right over to it. So we're excited about it, and we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to us and, look at our needs, and hopefully we can have a new series for next year. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys being here. Brian did do a lot of footwork in getting a bunch of our series, sample series for us, so we really do appreciate everything he's done. Took a lot of time out of his schedule, I think, to talk to different companies, so we do appreciate that. The pros of Math and You, kind of like what Brian said, if the high school does adopt it, it would be the first time we'd have a K through 12 math curriculum ever, I think, since I've been here, even as a math teacher. Another pro about Math and You is there are vocabulary cards that are provided, which makes it really nice for our students, because then the vocabulary is consistent from our school to middle school, then hopefully into high school. And that helps our students understand what they're talking about even more. The materials and how to use them are listed in each lesson, so that's always a plus. The online materials were really easy to navigate for our staff. There's engaging videos. We did present this to our site council, the elementary site council, the other night, and we showed them a video. And the way that they introduce Math and You is that they show a career. And in that case, I think it was a chef that was being shown, and they asked her how to use math as a chef. And then she explained how she used math as a chef. And then that focus as a chef actually carries through in that entire chapter. And a lot of the vocabulary and the story problems are focused on the student. A lot of times if you go into a math series, you'll say, Jack and Jill loved ice cream cones. They have this many, and the kids are like, well, who do I care? I'm not Jack and Jill. But a lot of the story problems, I think all of them in Math and You, focus on you and your friends. So the kids are actually part of the story problems. Differentiation is provided, so that was a big issue with our staff. Sometimes we find it challenging to challenge our higher level students with more challenging material, and this actually breaks it down to where you have a focus group, mid-11 group, and then a kind of a high group, and different materials to go with those, so it makes it nice. Tier grouping is made really easy. It actually puts the kids into actual groups according to your a formative test, a summative test, and kind of like a pre-test, a mid-test, and then an end-of-chapter test. Student worksheets were less wordy and clear and easy to answer and assess. My K through 2 teacher said a lot of the series that they looked at, the story problems were really wordy. Well, K through 2 students can't really read all that well yet, so for them to understand what they were supposed to do as the math problem, it was gonna be very challenging, so the teacher would have to provide a lot of direction. So they thought Math and U does a lot better job with having less words in their story problems. Assessments, like I said, there's a pre, mid, and end of chapter, so student progress can be tracked pretty easily. And the workbook, I'm gonna let you guys kind of look these over if you like. The workbook's very colorful, so it is attractive for the students to actually work through. The cons of Math and U, we didn't see a lot of them, but one of the cons is that the copyright is a 2024, which, I mean, it's a year old already, but when we looked at the other series, I think most of them were 2025s, so it wasn't that big of a difference to us. If you look at the workbook, for our younger students and even some of our older students, they require a lot of space to write their work because we're really saying, show your work, so we know what you're doing. But there's not very much space in the workbooks. But when we looked at all the other workbooks, they were pretty much the same thing. So that's one thing that we're just gonna have to overlook a little bit. Brian made a comment, you know, when we're looking at 3rd through 5th grade, we look at what's on the state assessment. Is it being introduced to our students before the state assessment? And there were a couple of concepts that weren't actually introduced till the very end of the school year. So those are just things that our staff's going to have to make sure that we move those chapters up a little bit before state assessments so our students feel a little bit more prepared for state assessments. There was a lot of material to be covered in one period, so sometimes we figured that maybe there might be 2 periods that we'd have to utilize to cover a section in Math and U. And there is more than one strategy usually offered in a section before mastery is allowed. But again, we feel like with our veteran teachers, we feel like we can kind of overlook that and work through that with our students. So I know you guys have the Big Ideas price sheet in front of you. I know you look at that, you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. It is, but when you think about it over a 6-year period, and then you think about how many students that's serving each day, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of students, but it's money-wise, it really turns out to be pennies, to be honest with you. So,
it's expected to last for 6 years
correct.
before it needs to be renewed?
Yes. And the good thing of it is that we pay this up front, but then after that, every summer, those materials automatically come back to us, so we don't have to worry about reordering everything. The only thing that they send me is an updated list of how many kindergartners do you have next year, how many 1st graders do you have, that kind of thing. But all of our online materials will be available to us, and our workbooks will already be there when we come back from the summer.
So where did the numbers come from, like kindergarten? It says 50, is that just what you know is coming, or is that, I mean, how does that work for each grade?
Right, so what I do is I look at the grade below them, and like right now, we have 44 4-year-olds. So when I look at that, I think there's probably some 4-year-olds that don't go to preschool, and so they'll come to our kindergarten. So I try and allow some extras, because it's challenging for my staff when we start teaching right from the get-go. If I don't have enough materials for them, then we have to reorder, and then it feels like the students kind of get behind, the ones that don't have those materials in front of them. So I've allowed not a lot of extras, Tyler, to be honest with you. I've probably allowed 5 at most per grade level. Most of them have probably 3 extra, and that's it.
Okay.
Have you talked to any other districts that use it, or do you know of any? Have you talked to them?
I think we did talk to some districts that used it, and don't ask me now because we've talked probably to so many of them. But there were districts that had used it, because we asked Stephen McDonald, I think, our actual person, hey, what ones have used it? I did not talk to them personally. I don't know if you guys did or not either.
Just through email. Just remember what reviews you may have received from them, or?
Well, we know just talking to the middle school teachers, they absolutely love Big Ideas, which is our Math and U. So.
Yeah, they won't change, they love it. So I think last time, before we renewed, I think they came down and tried to talk to the elementary a little bit about getting on it, because they like it so much, but they really like it.
When you did the Google form to poll kind of the teachers, was a majority looking into the math than you, or were they leaning that way or leaning towards the Envisions?
There were probably 6 people that responded to my survey, so
Oh.
that gives you an idea.
Not give us a good sample.
But I
6
will
people
say-
plus the committee or 6 people total?
6 plus the committee.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will say though, it took us a long time to actually narrow this down. Probably my K through 2 teachers maybe wanted to go a different route, but that was a route that I knew I wasn't going to go to. I'll just put it as that.
Yes. That grade 1 just seems low at the 35.
I know.
I mean, that's why the rest of them are higher, that's why, are we sure there's enough for that grade or not?
Well,
or-
right now, we only have 30 in kindergarten.
Based on capacity, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just where it's at.
Okay.
Just
When does
never
the
know
high
about
school-
turnaround,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No, you're fine. When is the high school planning to look at this and make a
So-
decision?
Yeah, so I've kind of been talking about that for a while, just because in the 3 years that I've been here, when I first came in, I think some of you were on the board when we looked at some of the ELA stuff, which was kind of older. And so last year we did science, so we've kind of been focusing a little bit on math. Kylie Lohmeyer did go with them in the fall to pick out some, and she is kind of using big ideas for the most part in her algebra class. So my hope is that there's still we kind of got some other stuff too, just in case to see, and look through and peruse. But my hope would be that this next year that they would kind of solidify a decision with the adoption in 26, 27.
Just throwing this out there, would it save us any money if,
Yeah.
you put those 2 together?
Yeah, I don't,
would there be
I don't know.
saving a discount on, like if we brought both of them
Either, I
together,
think it
we
would
could
be-
make it happen?
I think
Yeah, I don't
it'd
know.
be separate, because it's secondary and elementary, I think it'd be, as they stand, I don't know that there'd be much of a price break because it's a secondary type curriculum. But our goal is to, I shared that instructional materials information with you guys, we collected that last year, and this summer, the goal is with the new budget software to create a budget rotation for resource adoption. So every 6 years, math is coming off, so math is gonna come up in 6 years. We're ready to go through this process just like they did, and we can try to build that K-12 resource. And maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, just depends on what it is, but that's the plan moving forward. So in, 6 years, even though we're kind of off on this, but we'll get there. But, in 6 years, math will be back on the rotation to make sure we're having updated instructional materials in front of our kids. So that's the plan. We'll be building that this summer through the software program.
I want to say too, and I can't remember off the top of my head because I feel like I research all the time. But I want to say Big Ideas was one of the ones where it was through a curriculum listserv that I was kind of watching, and you can run it through this, I want to say portal, but it's not a portal. But you can type it in and it tells you whether it matches with the standards and whether it's standards alignment. I want to say that it actually showed pretty good reviews on matching up with the standards and kind of with student engagement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was one. I don't remember it being a red flag where we were absolutely not.
May I add another pro to this? With the PLCs coming up, this is gonna be great because now elementary is gonna be able to actually talk to middle school and say, hey, I don't understand how Big Ideas is teaching this. And then the middle school can help the elementary and so forth. Whereas right now, if we got together, it'd be well, I'm teaching it this way, I'm teaching it that way, and it's just boom, boom, boom. So now we have a chance of maybe being cohesive and working together.
That's
And that 6-year rotation is really going to help focus those conversations consistently within that 6-year span. That's what typically curriculums are, 6-year.
When's the last time middle school was upgraded? I mean, you said that they don't have any plans to
We
change,
did it a
but,
couple years ago,
okay.
so we're probably on year 3.
But we'll just have to work through some of those.
Yeah, I mean, he said they don't have plans to change.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff happens.
Their state assessment scores have been pretty good and they like it, so I don't plan on changing it anytime soon.
Okay.
Now, Dina, I know that you taught middle school math. Looking over the curriculum, do you think that this would prepare the students to be ready for that level of math, moving from elementary to middle school?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I will say a lot of that depends on your teachers, and I think that we have a great staff that prepares our students really well. That's what I would say first. But I do feel we did our due diligence in looking through several different series, and we felt most comfortable with this one. So, yeah, I do. And I think one of the big pluses for us is that so many of our students, when they leave high school, it seems like they are so focused on just a few careers. They don't know what else is out there, because we're a little Osage. I think sometimes we feel that way. But with this, I think it's going to introduce our students to a lot of other different careers where math is really vital. So instead of saying, there's no way I'm ever going to use this, it specifically says where you're going to use it in their career. So.
Well, and I think that for your first statement, I mean, I think that you can probably say that about any and every curriculum. I would think that it depends on how the teachers
Oh,
approach
sure.
that.
Yeah. That was it for our presentation.
That's all I have, PJ.
All right. Yep. All right. Any other questions?
And so just to confirm, we'll pay this upfront now for it to go in effect at the beginning of next year.
Yes, yeah. And we can actually push it off if we feel we need to after July 1, but we need to confirm that so we can get the materials here and ready to go. But we could push it, and we're going to be looking at that budget when we get back from spring break where we're going to finish out. So, but typically they'll let you push it to after July 1 into next year's budget. But we need a commitment so we can get our order in to have the materials here this summer to make sure they have everything they need. So we'll monitor. They're flexible with us on that. So.
All right. There's no more questions. I'd like to make a motion to approve the adoption of the Big Ideas Learning elementary math curriculum.
A second.
Carson,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Linton.
Aye. All right,
All right.
let's teach some math.
So, speaking of math, let's look at this 1,116 hour requirement for the 24-25 school year.
So with our snow days, and with the early release that we did on Wednesday for the state tournament, the district would have been, to finish out, we would have finished out with 1,114.33 hours with the early release. So that would put us below the requirement. The requirement is 1,116 hours that we have to have. That's the state requirement that districts have to meet. They feel for student contact that we have to do that. So with the calculator that they provide, you can put in a lot of different scenarios and looking at that. And so in order to make sure we meet the requirement, there's some options that we could do to make up this time to make sure we're in compliance. As you see there, there's a list, like if starting on Monday, the 24th, when we get back from spring break, we could add time to the calendar. If we added 5 minutes, that'd put us at 1,118 plus hours. If we added 4 minutes, that should be 1,117, just over that hours. And then 3 minutes would put us at 1,116.3 hours, which would make the compliance to do that. So that would be starting on Monday after we get from spring break until the last day necessarily. I didn't put additional minutes on the last day of school because it's a half day, but that would put us there at 1,116.73 hours. You see all the other stuff in there because in case we dismiss Friday, we're going to have to do some other things. So I just left it in there so you can kind of see it. But unfortunately, we're not going to get to dismiss Friday. So if we were to, just for your information, convert April 11th, like one of those days that we're out in April, if we could convert that into an in-session day, that would put us at 1,121.58 hours. If we were to convert that day into a full session day. If we converted just to a professional development day, then we'd be at 1,117.79 hours. You can count half of professional development as student contact time. So if you had 6 hours of professional development, or did you fall asleep, Tim?
I did. The computer might have.
No, camera went dark.
All right, so, but if you if we were to convert, you can convert student or professional development, half of that time into student contact time. So what we're recommending is adding 3 minutes to the day to meet the requirement. It's really up to the building to decide. We talked back and forth, the secondary, middle school and high school would like to add it at the end of the day, add a couple more minutes to their seminar time at the end of the day. Elementary is kind of back and forth, in the morning, adding it to the morning. We're 5 minutes off anyways. Technically, elementary starts at 8 and the middle school and high school starts at 8:05. But it has to be when the kids are in the seat ready to learn. It can't be during transition time or any of that. The student contact time is when they're ready to learn and do that. So it's really up to them when they decide and where they put that, but the board does need to approve adding time to the day. And so we're recommending the 3 minutes to make us in compliance.
And this would be effective after spring break?
Yes, starting the Monday after spring break.
How does that impact? I know it's only 3 minutes, but how would that impact after school activities and whatnot? Any major issues?
I don't see any major issues. The bus is just going to leave a little later, but I don't see any major issues with that after school activities. You think of any?
It's 3 minutes, so
Yeah.
I don't really see how 3 minutes is gonna make a huge difference in my mind. Sorry, it's less than 5, so.
So like elementary, do they go down before 8 o'clock? Can that be considered?
That can be considered part of student contact time because they're not in the classroom ready to learn. That's just a transition time, and that's just for, just a building management thing to happen to get the kids going and they go in the gym and then to start transition. It takes a while for them to get to the classroom instead of where junior high and high school are out. Tim puts them in the gym, but it's not going to be any different.
So that day that you were talking about, what would change in that day?
And what?
In the professional development day?
It just, we could provide PLC professional something if we chose to do that, if we chose to go that, have the teachers come that day. But it would just put us over the requirement for the 1,116, just another option to consider.
So April 11th is a non-school day anyway.
Yeah, that's smoking in the spring on there that day, and so it's traditionally been a day off, but just that came up in the conversation because, we didn't know about Friday and that early release, so we were trying to figure different ways to do that, so that's why that information's included in there, so.
I just don't see the benefit of adding 3 minutes to a day. From a teacher standpoint, from a student standpoint, I don't see the benefit of it.
Mhm.
So that's why I would question if it'd be more beneficial changing April 11th.
It's 1 dozen, whatever that saying is, but it's really about being in compliance when it comes down to this, when it comes to it, so. The 3 minutes in seminar for the secondary gives a little extra time for us, a little extra help, but it's really just to making sure that we're in compliance. And this is what the academic calendar committee gave the feedback on, was to add the minutes to the day, was my understanding what the majority of the staff preferred to do that, so.
You talked about getting curriculum in before testing. Is April 11th before or after testing has started?
It's right during
in the
testing.
middle.
Right in the middle of it.
So you wouldn't be able to add lessons back from school
Correct.
days that you've lost to make that up for testing purposes?
They would, if we had to go that day, they probably would do some stuff.
But would it be beneficial to your testing if you're already in the middle of it or no?
We would still.
Is my question.
At the high school level, we would not have taken our math state assessments. So our math state assessments are the last week, the 14th through the 17th.
Yeah,
So
my crew would probably not have their reading done yet. Some of them wouldn't even have their math done yet. But that first week, which would be the 11th, that first week, we have 5th grade science and I believe third grade math? Fourth grade math, so it's 4th grade math that first week. So, all of April, they're going to be focused on state assessment, so
We'll be done with 6th and 8th grade testing already, so we just, or 7th and 8th grade, we will only have 6th grade left.
But if we're just adding half a day on the 11th, that is just a professional development day, so there would be
Right, so
no
you have-
students in the school.
It would be a full professional development day is what
Right,
is what
there-
those hours are based on, a full professional development day.
And there's no students in the school. That's what I'm trying to make sure
Yeah,
everyone realizes. So regardless if we do a half a day on the 11th or if we add 3 minutes, I think if we're wanting to add contact time with the students, 3, 4, 5 minutes is your better route than half a day on the 11th.
Yeah, because you wouldn't even have student.
And the staff
Right.
they were given all of these options and they wanted,
well, we didn't talk about the professional development one on the 11th, making that, we talked about it in session, thinking again, the worst scenario.
yeah.
And I just thought of that last night or the day before, but that's an option, but overwhelming feedback was to add minutes to the day from the staff.
Do we have and I don't know this just because I haven't been around long enough probably. Do we have, obviously people have plans, right? Like they've planned for that day off or whatever.
Sure.
Do we have a specific amount of days off that we're, contracted to give our teachers or anything like, is that something that comes into?
We have a certain number of contract days for the teachers, not necessarily off. They,
Okay.
this is what's built into the contract, so.
So that wouldn't be impacted by us?
No, because of the snow days and things, I mean, it wouldn't affect that, but no, there's not a certain number of days, it's just a certain number of days that
Sure.
they're required to be here.
Yeah.
I will say, when we first thought it, because we really thought our girls, tomorrow, we were looking at least 9 minutes, and I think my staff was like, whoa, 9 minutes added to that day, that's a lot. You look at 3 minutes, that's doable. 9 minutes would have been a lot.
I'd say if that's what the staff was willing to do, then let's go for it. 3 minutes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to extend the school day 3 minutes starting March 24th through the end of the school year to make up and meet our 1,116.28 requirement.
Second.
Tice,
Aye.
Carson,
Aye.
Eppenstall.
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
Right. Speaking of school days and calendars, let's talk about the 2025-2026 academic calendar.
So how this is typically done when I do this is basically make a carbon copy of the current year and then we'll kind of work from there based on ideas and thoughts and different things. As Mr. Strong mentioned earlier, we're really looking to push PLCs in a formalized process. And I just felt it was, to me, for early release collaboration days, excuse me, I still call them early collaboration days, was not enough to really help provide those opportunities to teachers to get together in a formalized setting with a focus and looking at that. The feedback we received is more time to get together, but also a more frequent time to talk about what they're doing and to analyze what they've done in that month. So Calendar B is basically built off of adding early release for collaboration on the first Wednesday of the month for September, October, November, December, February, March, April, and May. And so trying to get that consistency that's in there so parents know the first Wednesday of the month is when we do that. It'd be just like what we've been doing in the past for that release time and things of that nature. But it'd be based on, we'll be building a collaboration timeline. We're also creating a partnership with Solution Tree, who are the gurus of professional learning communities. And we'll be working with a consultant to help guide the district in helping us formalize those PLC processes, looking to utilize our time to build that. I know PJ, again, just with when we met, was concerned with student contact time and losing that. Yes, we're going to lose about 6 hours of student contact time overall compared to what we've been doing. But I think the benefit is going to be greater by having this more often for the teachers to able to collaborate. And we'll have this collaboration timeline where it could be grade level, content area at the buildings, 6-12, just depending on that. And one of those, one a semester will be a K-12 conversation where we can get together and talk about, all the math teachers are getting together. Even though we have 3 sections, we'll have to work through that and what that looks like. But that's just something we'll have to grow and learn based on our configuration and our sections we have per grade level. But I really believe that by having this consistency and having a formalized focus process with the assistance of Solution Tree, we'll be able to show great benefits in the long run, even though we're going to lose some student contact time with adding these collaboration days. So I'm recommending calendar B, no increase in student contact days, no increase in teacher contact days or contract days. But it would just be adding those early releases on the first Wednesday for the months mentioned.
What is an average, is it considered an 8-hour day? What is a class hour day?
Technically, it's 420 minutes is what our, 405 minutes from 8:05 to 3:20. That's basically the secondary schedule. So that's 405 minutes. Divided by 60. So that's it's like 6 3/4 hours, 6.75 hours is what a day is for students.
And those collaboration days count as half.
Half of that time, because we'll have focused professional learning during that time. So half of that time is counted towards student contact time.
So adding however many collaboration days, you said cuts about 6 hours.
6 hours of student contact compared to the previous count.
Is that like cutting a snow day then essentially?
It basically is, yeah. Basically, it's cutting, we'll be down 1 less snow day is what we would be looking at. Yeah, okay. That's a good analogy. Yeah, we'd go from, I think it's just over 7 to just over 6, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Hesson?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Yeah.
For our master contract, it does say that we're supposed to give that as a vote.
Oh, I thought you had, sorry.
No.
Oh.
You had given it back to us to look at to see if there was any corrections.
Right.
But we did not turn it out for a vote.
Oh, I thought you had. Okay, well, then I guess I can't recommend that.
Did I send you an email saying that we had?
No, I thought from the calendar committee that the early releases were good to go, is my understanding, after we met.
It says the calendar committee will put together
Sure.
options for the certified staff to vote on.
So that has not taken place.
That has not happened yet.
Yeah.
So we don't know how staff will yet.
If you would like for me to do that, I will go ahead and do that, sir.
That'd be great, yeah, then.
Okay, absolutely.
So it just went to the calendar committee to take vote on it then?
Well, then the board still has action.
So we'll have to wait.
They'll just have to hear what the feedback is from the staff on that, so. But any questions about calendar A versus calendar B and the thought process on that?
Is there any schools around us that does this? I know Emporia did it for a while, I think the first Wednesday of every month. I don't know, does Linda and Tim?
Yeah, theirs is more during the school day, already built in than more early release days. But
So they build in more days, but they release.
no, they don't do like an early release.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
built in their day, so they move some things around within their schedule to accommodate it. But
For like grade level
so
PLC
classes,
time.
lots of playing time and just move. I don't know for certain. I know a little bit from what I was listened to from my wife, but I was kind of in and out of those conversations. So.
I know.
You gotta be a resource.
Yeah.
What typically has happened from what I've seen in a lot of the Southeast Kansas schools in my experience is they'll start with the once a month and then the teachers like it so much, they try to do it more frequently where, like, I know a couple of districts down there went to once a week for like an hour. So they have that focus time, but right now we need to really just build that time and see what that looks like and having the consistency to do that, so.
So if we get this many snow days next year, then we'll have to revisit it anyway.
Yeah, right, yeah, it's just something that we'll have to deal with and, in that, but I'm not sure about this area. I know they all have different kind of looks at team time or collaboration time or PLC time, whatever you call it, so.
Well, we'll wait and see how the vote comes back and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
And then I'll bring it to you. But like Brian mentioned earlier, that with KISA, this, can really help us in that time as our action plan to help towards that too, so. But I see more schools doing this because of the push for instruction coming from the state, and that PLCs really help focus on instruction coming, so.
So what's the difference between a collaboration day and the teacher professional development day?
It's not much really, just depending on how you define it within your, like building a collaboration timeline. We haven't necessarily done that, but it's just been the expectation and the building principles of just like, here's what I want you to focus on. But we're going to be more systematic in that, where it is about learning and evaluating data and learning from that to make adjustments based on data that's coming out of that. So we're hoping to formalize that. But if we have it spelled out, if it's not just to get together and talk about kids, we couldn't count that. But it's more focused of analyzing data, looking at curriculum, looking at assessments and learning from that, and then making adjustments to your instruction based on what you're learning, so.
And collaboration basically means, say, like middle school math with high school math.
Yeah, that's kind of how we,
Kind of getting together as a little group.
6 through 12 would be that kind of,
Yeah.
but then there'd be a time like,
Or ELA or
Right.
science.
So what's
To
the,
kind of make sure that they're from start to finish, kind of working on the same
yeah,
thing.
so what's the teacher professional development?
I would say professional development would be just
it could be
skills, layers of
district-wide
training.
initiatives, things that we do. We have our mandatory things we have to do at the beginning of the year, like our requirements for
Benetech.
yes, Infinitec, all those tests they have to do to show that they're
Or like
compliant.
we had like an AI guide come in and basically show us like how to use AI effectively,
Yeah.
basically. So he was showing teachers how to use AI
Our
effectively.
we're gonna bring in the consultant, he's gonna be here the first day to talk to the whole staff about professional learning communities, have that conversation. We're gonna meet with him in May with just our district leadership team, and then we're gonna kind of see where that goes, and then we'll build our professional development days based on needs and whether it's district-wide or per building. And it could be like Natasha brought in AI, and that was good for everybody, so it's an opportunity to do those things.
One more question, so we don't spend too much time, but are we doing it the same as other districts? Are we going by hours and other districts are going by days? I mean, is it different?
My understanding, you have the option of going, I don't know how many days it is that you have to meet those days, but if you miss, then you have to make up those days. So most districts do hours.
Okay.
So it gives them that flexibility in there to do that. So it just depends on how you're configured in your district. But my understanding, the majority of districts follow the 1,116 hour requirement instead of the day requirement. So there is some, like, I know Linden has it in their calendar where they designate snow days. So if they miss a snow day, then they're gonna go like this Friday before spring break, they have to go, so that everybody just knows. I like the flexibility, like building in snow days. That's what I've always done, just to have that flexibility, and occasionally you have to do things like this to add minutes, but it does happen, but not very often, but it does happen. That answer.
Looking at it from a perspective of a parent, I like the idea of it being on a consistent basis, that like I can plan my schedule for as to when the kids are getting out. So I was just surprised to see, I think, 2 professional development days still sprinkled in that are still feel like random. So I don't know if we can get any consistency with those 2.
I don't know how we would do that, just sitting here off the top of my head, but that's just kind of the way they've been built into the calendar based on holidays and things, and to do that, so. But the admin team would agree, that understanding with the parents, just that consistency of knowing the first Wednesday of the month is when that's gonna happen, so.
Because right now it's like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah, so that's, when it's hodgepodged in there, yeah, for sure. All right, that's all I have, PJ, then.
Okay, so we won't take action on this until we hear back from the teachers' calendar team.
I'll share that information with you guys.
Thank you. All right, looking at Southwest Dairy Grant.
So Jimmy's obtained this grant for the track program, $1,500 to buy chocolate milk. Chocolate milk is a good recovery drink to have. That's what, when I was coaching, I'd encourage my girls to do that when they got done. So we just need to accept this grant, and so he can use that for chocolate milk for the kids.
This Southwest area, is it, they are a supplier, our milk supplier?
No, we use Highland. I don't know how he got in touch with these people.
I don't know, but Highland is who our milk will come from.
I actually think Kat works, like does something.
She works
Yeah.
for Dairy Farmers of
Something.
America, I think.
I think that's,
Yeah,
I think that's
Maybe it's
it.
just something, I mean, they throw those things out there.
Offered up to Jimmy where he buys that chocolate milk. Sorry, get it from Highland or?
he's gonna get it from our supplier from Highland, yeah.
Does he have a suitable space to store it, or is Betsy gonna help him out with that?
Yeah, Betsy's gonna help us out with that. We're just gonna order it. I think Betsy said the truck comes sometimes twice a week.
It does.
Okay, is it twice? Okay.
Mondays and Thursdays.
So Mr. Bellinger's just gonna work with Betsy, and she has some cooler space that she can store it too.
That's good.
Do they have a plan for transporting it to meets and stuff?
I don't think they're gonna worry about meets. I think they're just gonna focus on like after practice. Yeah. I think he's
All
got
right,
cooler, so.
perfect. I can't see anyone, so I don't know when anyone's talking. So I apologize if I step on anyone's feet. I'd like to make a motion to approve and accept the grant from Southwest Dairy for $1,500 to the track program for chocolate milk.
Second.
Parsons,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Blomeyer.
All right,
All right, Chromebooks.
So yeah, I caused some confusion with PJ and Corey on this at our agenda meeting. So I had the quote for the cases, and it was only like $2,200. I'm like, what is so? So I got that squared up. So these are a quote from Luke to replace some computers that are aging out. This would be our only major purchase of a quantity of computers to help replace the ones that are dying out. We did a larger one last year because we had a bunch of batteries and different things that were going out. So, but this is what he's recommending right now is the 100 quantity to replace aged out computers.
is that price guaranteed?
Yes.
Because the Three Lakes are replacing some laptops and they have to get their order in immediately or the tariffs were gonna kick in.
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't mention any of that. So, but we'll get it in with approval tonight. So.
Is there any warranty on these?
I think there is a 1-year warranty, if I remember correctly. It's pretty standard. No, I don't see it on here. I'll get that to you. That's my fault.
Jim, was the price comparable to what Three Lakes was getting?
I don't remember. Those were laptops though, not Chromebooks. Yeah, it's different machine.
What did we spend last year? How many did we buy? Do you remember what it was,
I
40?
think we get a little, I thought we got 100 last year.
I thought it was like 140 or something, but I don't remember.
Was it through the same company or through a different vendor?
A different vendor. He's getting to know different vendors, and this was the best quote he had. So.
All right. Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of 100 Chromebooks from Business Solutions, Missouri and Kansas for replacement upgrades.
I'll second.
Tice, Blomeyer, Parsons,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson,
Just a question, when we get these in our hands, does our insurance, do we have a policy that would cover?
Yeah. Yeah.
We cover all these, I
Yep.
mean.
They're just
from day one.
automatic, you know, like even when we get a new vehicle, they're just part of the
It
package.
just goes
Yeah,
into.
it's just part of that, of our overall insurance part of that, so. Yeah, good question.
All right. Elementary roofs.
Okay, with our recent leaks from the snow and everything, we had Midwest Coding come and look at our sections, the elementary section, that main section about first and second grade and all that, and then the fourth and fifth grade section. These were going on 15 plus years. Dan wasn't for sure really when they were last done. So we got some quotes based on mainly the leaks. But in that conversation, and I've got some samples there for you guys to look at, that Midwest Coding is recommending putting hardboard down underneath the mill layer that they would be putting on. Mainly in that elementary section because there's a lot of traffic that goes on. That's where Jeff would get up on the roof and walk back to the other sections, and there's just a lot of traffic. And they're also saying it would help with some ponding by making it level and help maybe get the water. He's not guaranteeing it's gonna get to the drains, but it's gonna help with that because it'd be less ponding with that hardboard on there. So when they first provided the quote, he provided 2 quotes with the hardboard and without in that main elementary section. About the first grade area and second grade area, all that are there. But then when he provided the quote for the fourth and fifth grade section, he did it without the hardboard. And I asked him to provide one with the hardboard, as there's not a lot of traffic in that area. There's not a lot of ponding. It was just time. That was one of the older roofs that needed to be replaced in that. So, so we have it there for either, they're not really recommending it, but it is an option for the board to consider in doing that. So in my opinion, that we would accept the bid for the hardboard in the main elementary section, but not with the fourth grade section. But I'm not married to that either way.
So on this, with the hardboard, does it make any more of a warranty?
It helps with the hail rating, actually.
Correct.
Like we're like at a 1 to 2 with that. Without it, it takes it to a 4, and it does increases it some, but it's better than what we would typically have without it. So it does help with that hail rating as it relates to that. So it is a little better protection compared to what if we did it without it. So something to consider on that. Thanks for bringing that up.
Would that be able to decrease insurance costs?
No, I don't. It would. It just helps us in having less opportunity for replacement. Yeah, I guess. So it's how I understand that hail rating.
This could come out of capital improvement.
Yes, yeah, for sure. We could do some of it, one out of supplemental depending on where we're at, and one out of capital. There's plenty of that. We don't have any other major big projects.
Ours is not built the way it is
You
here.
can walk on it, you don't get up there and walk on
Yeah, we're walking on it now, but yeah.
it. Not typically.
No,
They don't do any of the drainage at, like, they're not gonna do gutters or anything like that. None of that's included, right? Like,
Right, it would just be to what it is right now. With the hardboard, it's gonna help, kind of, they're gonna try to guide it that way, but then the mill will go down into the gutter. So, but with our maintenance, preventative maintenance, they be coming and managing those gutter things when we do that preventative maintenance.
okay.
so it's like when they put it on, it's like a membrane and it fits tight around everything, and then any pipe that's coming up it's like another patch that goes around it, so it's like doubled. They do our roof too, and we've had ours out at the warehouse for, it's 29 years old, and knock on wood, we haven't had any problems on our offices.
Does it have to have?
No, we do not have that board, but ours is not built the way that the school is, so. And the main thing is to keep the water off of it, because the more weight that's on there, it'll stretch that membrane if there's a pooling or something and you wanna get the water off there as fast as possible.
It's about a $23,000 difference, with and without the hardboard.
Dan just texted me and said he doesn't believe the fourth grade section needs the hardboard, so.
So he thinks it has it, or he doesn't
It
think
doesn't
it needs
need
it all?
it, he doesn't need it based on the setup, so.
It doesn't get the traffic as
Yeah.
the main building does.
Do we
Foot
know
traffic.
if there's any damage internally from the water leaking? Like, is there mold? Is there
Jeff's gonna do some
tiles?
checking
Okay.
over spring break.
I mean, that's obviously not part of it.
Yeah, deep cleaning just to double check some of that stuff, so I think it's on his list to do, but I'll make sure he does some of that checking, so.
Okay.
And like, infrastructure, when they pull off what's up there,
Mhm.
we'll just be prepared if there's anything else that they find that
Yeah.
has to be fixed before we go back with that roof.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
PJ, did you say 23,000 or 70?
It's about 23,000 difference between the hardboard and without the hardboard.
Just for fourth and fifth grade, not the whole.
Just for
thing.
fourth and just the for the
Not
fourth and
elementary,
fifth
okay.
grade. Yep.
So fourth and fifth, we'd look at just the membrane.
yeah.
No hardware.
And there's 20-year warranty on that with 2 years something. I can't remember what he called it.
I think you can, I mean, don't quote me straight up, but I think towards the end of it, you can have it re-inspected and you can extend the warranty.
Yeah, there's a 2-year workmanship warranty for that as well. So
And that's who we have our maintenance contract with, right, for the roof.
yes,
Correct.
yeah.
So
Midwest.
they're gonna keep on top of it, you know,
Right.
with their handiwork. So
Yeah. Good.
Because if they don't do a good job, it's gonna cost them more in the end to take care of it.
Yeah.
right.
And
So-
it would be that white roof that they recommend, right?
Yes. So I would recommend the hardboard in the main elementary section. Hardboard.
I would recommend going with that.
And not in the fourth grade section.
What other, are we looking at any other roofing issues? I mean, throughout.
That's what I hoped with the maintenance contract with Midwest, that they can lay that out for us as they do that and start saying, oh, this is where we need to focus on as we go through there. So that's and that's part of it, is they should be letting us know, hey, that you probably ought to keep an eye on this. So with the preventative maintenance contract, that's what we'd be looking at.
So this, and what's the timeline? If we give the go-ahead, is this something they'll do this spring and summer before next year?
We haven't talked timeline, and we didn't, but they're pretty busy, but as soon as we can get them going, then we can
Yeah,
get
we're
them
waiting
going.
on them.
I don't know about, it'd probably be better without the kids there. It's a lot of noise, especially state assessment time. I don't think Miss Paul would want them up there doing their thing.
We could send a whole class up there and help them out.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
that, so.
I would say this would be phase one of our
Yeah.
preventative maintenance.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's a big one.
But the middle
Well,
school will have,
And I mean, really, we've already okayed that contract. The only problem is we paid that money for the contract, but then now we're doing this, so they're not gonna have anything.
No.
You know, it seems like we ought to be able to negotiate some of the maintenance contract, just because we're taking care of a large majority of the issues with this right here.
Weren't they giving us a discount for any kind of roof work that they would have to do under the maintenance contract?
Yes.
Is that included on this quote?
No.
Yeah, that's, PJ, that was what I was basically saying is, I mean, they ought to take some off that maintenance contract, because we're taking care of the issues right here if we go with this
Right.
roofing.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think it was a 10% discount. I think, don't quote me on that, a 10% discount on any kind of roofing maintenance that had to be performed. So I'd like to see that included with this. I think this quote came out after we
Yes.
approved them as a maintenance contract too, right?
Well, we're right in the process of all that, so, and I think they were working on it prior to us approving that, because we're having
Okay.
all those issues.
Yeah. Have they come to do an inspection yet, or have they at least scheduled something?
No, not yet. I haven't heard from them on that. We've just got the agreement signed and that taken care of, so we have not talked schedule on that yet.
So should we, well, I don't know what you guys think, should we talk about that before we do this, or should we go ahead and accept it?
If anything,
move
not to
forward?
exceed, I mean, you could do not to exceed, because if we can I can talk to them and get it down based on this preventative maintenance, and if that 10% comes into play or something, but you can just say not to exceed that.
Okay.
But I will work with them on that.
And that, you said capital outlay is what
Yes.
that'd be?
yeah, capital improvement, yeah. And I mean, we haven't done anything major for a while,
We did locker rooms last
Yeah.
year, but
but they,
some of that came out of supplemental and
yeah,
we divvied it up a little
I mean,
bit.
it's,
We're good there.
would be a drop in the bucket of what we have for that.
Where did that desk collector for the,
Oh, I'll give you an update on that. And
okay.
So looking at the two options, so with the hardboard for the elementary and without the hardboard in the fourth and fifth, we're looking at $289,800. $289,800. With that in mind, I'd like to make a motion to proceed with the Midwest Coating Roofing in the amount not to exceed $290,000, pending discount due to our maintenance contract.
Second.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
All
No
right.
more trash cans in the elementary school to catch water. We gotta make it through this spring first.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, KASB membership renewal.
So this is an annual renewal provided for you. The contract there is provided for their services. There's two quotes on there. There's just the renewal for the membership. We do not do the season pass, so that would be $1,750 less because we don't use that, but we use their other services that relates to being a member. And then the legal is the other that we provide. That's $2,750. We can call up there anytime we have an issue and get help, whether it's building admin. You as board members could call and talk to them as they would provide advice about policies, about procedures and things of that nature. If we were in an employment issue, they would help to a certain point, but through their legal services fund to do that. So, but this is just the annual renewal for their being a member of KSB.
So we go option one then.
Yes, option one, yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to continue our membership and renew our membership under option one with KASB for the amount of $9,355.53 and renew our legal assistance contract with KASB in the amount of $2,750. $2,750.
Second.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
All right, building capacity.
So we talked a little bit about this last month. We have to have in place our non-resident capacity. Non-resident enrollment as part of that policy is to have our capacity posted on our district website. So people understand, what we have to identify. Two things on there. One is capacity of a grade level, and then how many seats are available based on that capacity. And so we just had a one-page form that showed that information for families to consider. So we have to have that in place on May 1. May 1st, it has to be on our website, and then we start accepting applications on June 1st for non-resident enrollment into our district. So I have last year's capacity on there in that tab at the bottom, what we had last year, and then I just create a new tab so it all stays together so you can look at comparison. The only major changes to this is, I don't know, major's not the right word, but last year I think fourth grade was at 48 students. And so we just bumped it up with that, the third grade coming to fourth grade for next year to move it to 54. That was the only real change that was on there. We're projecting 49 for kindergarten. We have 44 or something, I think, in Power School of fourth graders or 4-year-olds. So just kind of basing that projection on there because we don't, again, like Ms. Paul said earlier, we don't know how many are gonna show up that didn't go to preschool. We're not sure who those are out there. So, with the primary grades, looking to keep them at a lower level, and of a capacity, to keep that student-teacher ratio down. So, but if you look on the far right, based on the capacity and based on projected enrollment is enrollment based on at the beginning of March, just what it said. And so I just use that as our projected enrollment, because it just fluctuates. It stays pretty flat, considering we lose about as many kids as we gain typically. So I just use the March Power School enrollment for the grade levels in that. So
just to clarify, once we accept an out of district student, they're with us for as long as they want to go here, right?
A calendar, we have to keep them for a calendar year.
One calendar year.
If they're found not to be in good standing, you're not holding up to our expectations, we can let them know that they can't return as a non-resident student. But we have to keep them for through one school year.
And if they're in a
But if they do something egregious or something, we can get rid of them then. But
and just to clarify, so if we take one out of family, we got to take them all.
if there's capacity, no, we have to take them all, right? Yeah, yes. So, and we only had one request last year that I remember.
I have one in high school.
Yeah, I think that's all we received last year was one request.
So
So
on the negatives, that means we're not accepting any. We're already over capacity with just our own kids.
if that's what we choose to do next month, we could, but according to this, that would show we have no capacity in there to accept kids. So if you're a second grader or whatever, that's, gonna be third grader, then if they applied, we'd just say we don't have the capacity to take you on based on our numbers.
But if they were here last year.
Yeah. Once you're in, you're in.
Get in.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
like-
okay.
But
You can only be dismissed from the program if from either academic failure or
Right.
some other type
Yeah.
of.
just not meeting expectations. So
Sure.
they're on probation basically is what they are, each year. And so but you can't get rid of them at any time. You have to, they have to be able to attend through the school year. But once the school year, that doesn't mean that you get to let them back in.
The or is if they're a sibling of another student that can be accepted.
But still, if we take them, but if that sibling's not cutting the mustard, we can tell them not to come back.
I understand the behavior part, but I'm more focused on the capacity part.
Yeah, sure.
If you have a fifth grader that is good and they have a third grade sibling,
Yeah,
even though we're still over capacity, we're taking both of them.
right.
So what about in the event of a kindergartner, you've got somebody that's got a second grade sibling. The kindergartner isn't grandfathered in because they haven't started before, but they're grandfathered in because they have a sibling, or we can say no because, sorry, we're already at
Part of that, they have a sibling that was that, because if we have more people apply for let's say, fifth grade, we get 5 kids apply that want to come in, then we just draw them out of a hat. And the first 3, they're in. If that one of those kids has a kindergarten that's requested to come, that kid gets to come because they were selected.
So is this something we ought to take into consideration with new housing coming in town to keep it kind of tight?
I mean, we still have some, I guess, authority to manage those. If they're gonna be bad kids, we're not taking other people's problem. If they're on suspensions and things of that nature, we can deny them enrollment because the legislature changed some of that policy in there. So I'm not too worried. We can just do what we've always done, but by law, by the legal, we have to have this in place. So.
We lost PJ.
He's still here.
Oh, he's still here.
I'm here.
Might just be that
It's not on the TV.
TV went to sleep.
Must be lights out in the military.
Hey, it's getting to be that time.
I'm with PJ.
So we're not taking any action on this. It's just kind of where we're at and just, any thoughts or concerns about this. But we'll have it for recommendation next month. So we just have to have it in place by May 1st to go there. So not sure what they anticipate, how many requests we'll have. Like I said, I was thinking we have quite a few and we had just one. That's all that came through last year. So, but we have to have it on our website. As part of their policy requirement.
We do fluctuate quite a bit from September 20th to now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a lot more during the school year, parents or kids move around than it is from spring to fall.
Yeah, and we have it in ours that we don't take them after the window closes for applications, so we don't take out of district kids. So, and that's kind of been typical procedures, is not take them after the September count, so. But. All right, any other questions or thoughts?
All right, moving on to building reports. Any questions on those?
On, oh, sorry. On the middle school report, under staff, it talks about evaluations are finished, and then there's a list of staff members. Is that just the evaluations that you did, or is that?
It's just the newer staff.
Okay.
I do want to throw it out there. Natasha said it in hers, but I do want to congratulate the girls basketball team for doing, making it state. That's awesome. And then also the wrestling team for going to state. They, both teams have done awesome this year and couldn't be more proud of how they represented the school.
And we also have forensics.
Yeah, we'll have quite a few forensics
That's
students.
qualified for state.
That's great.
Yeah.
And FBLA
Yeah.
too, right?
And FBLA, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always
Congrats
nervous
to all
I'm gonna
those
forget
teams.
Some group or some organization. There's a lot of them, but yeah.
There is a lot of them. Congrats to everyone, and it just shows that the hard work of our students and staff, and keep it up. All right, if there's nothing else, let's move on to the superintendent report.
All right, so still trying to work on a date with Dr. Hart. A lot of stuff going on in the spring, a lot of ball games, and I know you guys want to attend, so we're trying to narrow that down to get a work session. Everyone he throws at me so far has been somebody's got something that they'd have to deal with. So I'll get with you as soon as we can get that squared away to follow up on the information that he had gathered, to put that together for the board to have a work session just to focus on future facilities in that conversation. So do want to mention that I put to you guys about a opportunity for a grant from within the Jones Foundation. That since offer has been pulled because they're working on some procedures and things of that nature. So it will be available to us at some point down the road, but we talked, Corey, and PJ and I, we haven't made a commitment. It's hard to commit to those funds when we haven't made a commitment as the board, and so, but then the next day we got an email saying that it was a little premature in offering those out because they need to work on some things with their procedures with these funds as it relates to that. So they're looking forward to our presentation. They know it's coming, at some point, or they're assuming it's coming for the Jones Foundation. So, but they understand where we're at and finalizing a commitment from the board and see where the direction is. So, but that offer has been taken aback and it's just not available at this time. So
Is that grant separate from?
yeah, it's within the umbrella. It's within my understanding of the umbrella of the Jones Foundation, but I don't know if it's a newer one, so they have to work out some of those procedural things that do that. But it is under the umbrella of the Jones Foundation.
What about the other Jones Foundation work? I heard that they have reached out asking when we're going to apply, and because they're trying to plan.
Yeah, no, I've been very close, transparent about that. The board has to have their work session once we make this commitment as a board or wherever that is, that then we will be going to the Jones Foundation to see.
But that's separate from that grant you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the big foundation, just the Jones Foundation. The other grants within that umbrella of that is my understanding. But yeah, no, they understand what our projects could be, and again, just waiting for us to decide and then come here a presentation, I'll go present to them, so.
Okay.
So, but still working with Dr. Hart to get a work session day. And so it's just tough in the springtime, but. The back house unit is gonna be delivered, on Tuesday. So Josh is coordinating that. Be kind of nice because there won't be any cars gone with spring break and things of that nature. So our local people are going to be, I think they're going to be there, going to try to be there. But Josh is coordinating all that for that delivery. It'll come in, it was supposed to come in pieces, but it's going to come in one big unit or one in, and they're just going to have to set it up. So Josh is taking care of all that to do that, but the anticipated delivery, well, it is, we're doing it next Tuesday. And then we'll start getting it connected and going through that. The electrical, Ryan's been talking to the electrical engineer, and then just getting the drawings and things to get that installed. And we're hoping it goes somewhat seamless, but I'm sure there's always going to be kinks to it. But it will be delivered next Tuesday, and not sure on the timeline for actual installation. All right, Three Lakes report. Jimmy, we had the meeting Monday. Anything, I mean, there's a couple things we want to talk about, but anything else other than those?
Oh, they went through they had their yearly audit, got through it in flying colors. It said it came out clean. Then most of the meeting was on this lakeside.
Yeah, so the Three Lakes has been talking to the superintendents and looking at going into some specialized programming for kids based on needs. And one that they're focusing on, we have frameworks right now for behavior kids, and we have the next step for the 18 to 21 program for those kids, and that's being housed at Burlingame right now. But we're trying to create a high needs autistic program, which they've dubbed it Lakeside. Just kind of coming off the Three Lakes to Lakeside is what this is. So in the presentation, it was looking at Scranton. The district office in Scranton has some space that they could utilize this program for high needs autistic kids, and they would go there to get their services based on their need there. So at the Santa Fe Trail Board meeting, they approved an MOU for them to use that space. And so plans will be going to put this program in place at the Scranton district office for high needs autistic kids. There's two groups. There's those high needs that are behavior, just really not functioning within the classroom real well. And then there's the ones that, might struggle a little bit academically, but they have those. So we're going to build a different program for those. So, but with that comes some staffing that will need to happen. And we'll look at increasing our amount that we are paying in. And my message and mantra has been like, if we're moving kids, people should move with those kids. We can't just assume we need all new people to run this program. But they're calling them behavior techs and I call them paras, but if that kid moves, those paras as support should move with them because they work with those kids. That's where the needs are going to be. And so we won't have that to deal with in the main building. So we won't probably need as many paras. I mean, we're going to need paras, but we probably won't need as many because of all the support that those kids need because of their disability. And so that would be focused. So we're working through that on the staffing part of that. That could lead to an issue in our building, to be honest with you, with Mitch resigning. They're looking at going to 3 sped teachers in the secondary and making that recommendation. We've met as a group. We've met with them. We have some concerns, obviously. Our numbers don't really cost. I mean, our caseloads are pretty low. I think there's 17 at the middle school. Is that right? And 24 at the high school.
I have 24 at the high school, yes.
Yes, I think there were 17 overall, which are not large caseloads, but Tim's been through that where they've had the large caseloads and in previous years, and just what that looks like is we're having that conversation of maybe having three teachers at the secondary level. One of those teachers would be in a kind of a functional classroom. Those kids who struggle academically, but we can build some life and career skills for them in half a day, and a focus of what that is based on whatever we put in place to do that, just general housekeeping things, work skills, just personal hygiene, all those things that could go into life skills where they spend half a day in that functional classroom and the other half a day they'll be an elective or something out in the regular ed to do that. The vision for me was that would be a district or a co-op wide program. And so they're looking to start that within, because we have 8 kids that would qualify to be in that functional program right now, who we think could have, it'd be successful. They'd be earning their math and English credits in there, could be earning their science credits and justifying that instead of being in a classroom that there might not be getting things out of it. But we're building life skills with them in this functional classroom. So we're still working through that with that 4th position. Again, caseloads are what it are, but we haven't really worked out the details of what that looked like because of scheduling is an issue. Tim's schedule is different than the high school schedule, and what does that look like? Is there enough support for that division of if one person has all those kids and 17 kids, it's not a lot, but it's just going to take some effort and things to work through. But again, those para support would be in those functional classrooms with those kids. They would have to go out and support when they go to the electives. So, but in that, then basically they would take our position and transfer it to the Lakeside if that's were to happen. So just to let you know where we're at in those conversations. So we still got to work out those details. I'm not sure where it's going to land on as we go through that.
Did you guys put a timeline or have an idea?
Well, the main thing was to wait for the Santa Fe Trail if they were going to approve access to the district office. So we'll be, so now we can move forward.
Needs to be done on the building too.
Yeah, so there's some things that need to be.
Restroom and some doors need to be installed, so it's gonna take a little bit.
So we would pay 20% of whatever that is. That's our contribution to that. Anything what we do is 20% of the overall cost our district pays towards because of our numbers, overall enrollment numbers. So, but mine is the long-term recurring cost of staff, and really let's just not add staff because we're adding a program. We need to really evaluate that because those are the long-term costs. So we're working through that, but now that it's been approved, we're going to really get into that conversation and obviously planning for next year. We need to know what that's going to look like for especially secondary special ed services. So did I miss anything? Oh.
The 4th position is the one that they're considering moving to
Yes,
Lakeside.
it's been open, and we were just informed yesterday that there was an applicant, a non-certified applicant, because she told us there wasn't an applicant, but she wasn't aware of this other one. So
we currently have 4 here for our secondary students.
Yeah, 2 at the high school and 2 at the middle school.
Okay.
Currently, yes. So we're working through that. Did I miss anything, Jim?
You get it all.
But I believe in specialized programming. I believe it's what's best for kids. The overall philosophy in the past has been full inclusion for the co-op, which I get, but are they really getting what they need to be successful for life after high school, even no matter what age they are? And so by having this high needs autistic program, we're going to have specialized people that have training to deal with these and work with these kids to help them manage and grow and be able to hopefully contribute, function successfully down the road, whether it's in the building or outside, when they graduate high school, you just never know. So
Is that K through 12?
Yes, it is, but they'll be separate. So I don't know what the numbers are sitting here.
Now, would they?
That's going to be separate though. Keep secondary from elementary.
The 3 that we have are currently 3 Lakes employees.
Yes.
So would they, if no one applies for this Lakeside position that could fill the job, could they then force one of those potentially to go to that, and then that would trim us from 4 to 2 actual staff people? Is that?
No, we need 3. We need 3.
I mean, I know that we need 3, but would 3 Lakes potentially move one of those 3 people to Lakeside?
No.
And then plug in someone different here?
Oh, I mean, that's potential, but we would have the 3rd person.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening, but
You see,
but if somebody wanted to go there and do that job, then we'd have to fill that to keep at least our 3. But that's a possibility. I don't see that, but
I mean, I don't know if that's something that they would do.
But we really need to. I mean, we were just presented it with this Monday, kind of having a real conversation about it, and We really don't know what that functional classroom is going to look like. I mean, there's things we need to do to those classrooms down there to make that happen for them to get those skills. But I believe, and again, it's just been that overall philosophy of full inclusion, which is not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong, but kids have different needs, and we don't want to put them in a situation where they're not going to be successful. Because our biggest dropout rate is special education students, because they're so frustrated in the situation that they're in, because they're not being successful, because they're struggling learners, and that's when we get the dropouts. But we have a program designed for them. More than likely, they're going to stay and graduate and build some skills.
So just throwing this out here, did they not look at moving into in Burlingame? Was there not those?
It's not. Their setup is not as good as what it would be at Scranton, because the rooms are across the way. They're across the hall from each other, because currently we send a student there that has some high needs, and it's just not a great setup, and it would take a lot to really make that setup work, and it'd kind of be pushing the limits to what capacity they have at Burlingame right now to put that program there. And so that's why they've decided to put it at Scranton, because there's some, with Frameworks is expanded the next steps there. And they're Burlingame's using for some of their just general education too, so. But that conversation was had.
Okay, I was just thinking, if we're spending 20% in that building and we're spending 20% in that building.
It just wouldn't work. And there's not much more to, I think, upgrade out there at Frameworks, Jim, do you know, is there?
I think they're about where they want to be right now.
Yeah, so, but it just wouldn't work based on the configuration. Because right now, when we have our high needs kid there, it's like the rooms are across the hall, and it's just not ideal based on their needs. But that conversation was had.
Okay.
And the Lakeside would be all day that the students would be there.
It might be a modified day, but it'd be a full day,
Would we be able to talk if this were to come to fruition about like bus needs and stuff?
Yeah, transportation would have to be consideration of that. So we've bought one vehicle, I think, or two. So maybe Three Lakes could do that, kind of a loop thing, but it'll be something we'll have to deal with to transport them and to there and back. So, but we'll have to manage that at the time. So a lot going on. I believe in programming. I think it's the direction we need to go. It just takes a lot to do that, and change is hard too. So that's all I have for Three Lakes. Anything else, Jim?
No, you're good.
Okay. Software Unlimited, our fund accounting system. So we rolled it out to the staff in February, had some hiccups, but we're working through that still, just living and learning through it. But we're doing leave requests through that, and the requisitions are coming through there. So we're still learning through that. Patty and I went to negotiations training module Tuesday. So we're trying to build that within the package, so like we can see how much 1% increase is going to be, 2% for certified, classified, and we can have some really good numbers based on what's in the system within the Software Unlimited payroll system. So it's going to be really nice. We could do that for supplementals, so we'll have some accurate numbers as we go with that. So we did that training. Over break, Patty's going to clean up our budget numbers. There's some a little bit hiccup on there, so she's going to get those cleaned up. It shouldn't be too much. And then when we get back from break, then Pam and I are going to start projecting out based on those budget numbers to see exactly where we're at. But overall, we're about, I don't remember what that number was, but we haven't used over half of our budget for general fund. Let's just say general fund. But we should have better accurate numbers when Patty gets those budget numbers cleaned up. So still working through that progress. We have an HR module that we'll have to do. We're not going to do the fixed assets inventory one. It's just too much work PAM systems is good enough to keep our information that we have for insurance and things of that nature. So we're not going to do the fixed assets. So we have HR and one other one. What was it? Is there another one?
I just have budget and HR left, so.
Yeah. But we're working through that. In the long run, it's good. We're looking to add K-12 docs too, which can put a lot of documents in there and just make it seamless. We could send contracts out and force Dina to sign one digitally, see how that goes for her. So, but we'll be looking to add that at some point, but we're still working through that. So Negotiation team members, I sent you that training. We don't typically start till after school's out, negotiations, so 1st of May, if you just have that done and completed, that would be great. If you need assistance, let me know. And then just to follow up on PJ, just do want to congratulate our coaches and our kids and just all the support from our community for all our kids. It's just great to see the number of fans in the stands, whether we're at home or on the road, and just the support that they receive. And it's just been a great season for athletics and academic extracurricular activities. And it just continues to impress me, the number of kids we have involved and the willingness to put the work in to be successful. And I just appreciate our coaches, our sponsors, cheer all the way down. I mean, all of them. It's just great to see the community that we have together in that. And it makes a big difference in our everyday life at school. So just want to congratulate them on a great winter sports and wish them our spring sports best of luck. So that's all I have.
All right. I move that we go into executive session to discuss supplemental positions and certified positions pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at, we'll say 8:45. I'd like to have Superintendent Ms. Paul present.
Second. Sorry.
Knew if I stared at you. Carson,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Tice. Did she say aye?
Aye.
Okay,
I was
sorry.
coughing, sorry.
And Litton.
Aye.
Yeah, it didn't get right at the level.
All right, we're back live.
All right, we're back in open session. I'd like to make a motion to approve the resignation of Marion Smith as high school science ag teacher and high school scholars bowl at the conclusion of the 2024-2025 school year, as well as approve the resignation of Debbie Shoemaker as the high school dance sponsor for the concluding at the 2024-2025 school year. Also like to make a recommendation of approving Mark Brewer to the first grade teaching position, Jordan Middleton to the fourth grade teaching position, Hallie Tyson to the fifth grade ELA teaching position, and the OCMS STEAM Academy approval for Brock Baxter and Dustin Stuckey.
Second.
Fagan. Oh, he's not here. Tice.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Lamar.
Aye.
Parsons.
All right. I move that we go into executive session to discuss negotiations topics pursuant to the exception for employee-employer negotiations under COMA. And the open meeting will resume in the library boardroom at, we'll say 9:05 with the superintendent present.
We don't need that long, PJ. Probably just 9 o'clock will be all right.
9 o'clock. Perfect.
Second.
Litton.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Lamar.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Ball game hasn't started yet either, so.
Oh.
All right, we're back on.
Yeah, she's gotta go.
All right, we are back in open session,
For what?
Bills,
and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
bills. I'll second.
Parsons,
Aye, aye, sorry.
Kevinstone,
Aye.
Carson,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Flint, Lamar.
Stinking second. I'm like, why you
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Have a good.
Thank you.
Yeah, PJ.
See you guys.
Are we all here?
Where's he at?
Mississippi?
Mississippi?
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, Mr. Haslam, can I have you proofread this?
Oh, man.
Are we off the speaker, Ted?
No.
No.